They thought they'd found their dream home. But the walls remember everything. And they never stop whispering. The first whisper came on a Tuesday. It was barely a breath, just a faint papery rustle behind the bedroom wall. Sarah dismissed it as the house settling. Old homes do that. They creak, they sigh, they remember. But this sound wasn't the groan of aging wood. It was a voice, a murmur, a secret pressed against the plaster. Her husband, Mark, heard it too. Late one night, he sat up in bed, straining to listen. "Did you hear that?" he asked, his voice tight. Sarah shook her head, pulling the covers closer. "It's nothing," she said. But the whisper returned the next night, and the night after that, it grew clearer, more distinct. Fragments of words, like echoes of conversations from another time. Whispers of regret, of sorrow, of a name repeated over and over. Eleanor. Their daughter, Lily, was the first to find the message. While playing in the hallway, she peeled back a loose strip of wallpaper, revealing words scratched into the plaster beneath. Not painted over, but carved. A single, desperate plea. "Don't let him see you. The house is hungry." Mark, a history buff, became obsessed. He spent weekends stripping layers of paint in the basement, uncovering more messages. Dates from the 1940s, names of families who had lived there before. The Hendersons, the Callaways, the Vances. Each entry ended the same way. It took them. It's still here. The whispers grew louder, no longer confined to the walls. They seeped into dreams, into waking moments. Sarah would be making breakfast and hear a child's laughter, cold and hollow, drifting from the pantry. Mark would find cold spots in the hallway, a sudden drop in temperature that made his breath fog in July air. Lily stopped sleeping in her room, claiming the walls were talking about her, whispering her name with a voice like dry leaves scraping concrete. The house wasn't just remembering, it was collecting. Each family's fear, their secrets, their final moments. It absorbed them, feeding on their essence, trapping their echoes within its structure. The foundation, Mark discovered, wasn't just concrete. Beneath the slab, he found a shallow pit filled with small, smooth stones arranged in a pattern that made his skin crawl. And at the center, a rusted iron box. Inside, a bundle of hair tied with a frayed ribbon, and a single yellowed photograph of a woman with hollow eyes, her mouth open in a silent scream. The whispers became a chorus now, a constant, maddening pressure. They spoke of the woman in the photo, Eleanor. She wasn't the first. She was the architect. She built the house as a vessel, a trap, and every family since had fed it. Mark wanted to run, but the doors wouldn't open. The windows were sealed shut, as if the house itself had decided. The whispers turned, urgent, commanding. "Stay, join us, become part of the walls." Sarah felt the pull, a strange calm settling over her. Maybe staying was easier. Maybe the whispers were right. But Lily's eyes, wide with terror, snapped her back. This wasn't peace. It was consumption. In a final act of defiance, Mark smashed the iron box against the foundation stone. The whispers erupted into a shriek, a cacophony of every trapped soul screaming at once. The walls seemed to pulse, the air thick, with the scent of damp earth and old blood. Then, silence. A profound, heavy silence. The whispers were gone. The cold spots vanished. The house felt empty. Truly empty for the first time. They fled into the night, leaving everything behind. But as they drove away, Sarah glanced back. In the upstairs window for just a second, she saw a pale face watching them. Not Eleanor, a new face. The house was already waiting for its next family, and the whispers, she knew, would begin again. The walls are still whispering. If you want to hear more, subscribe and hit the bell.